It's your time to thrive. It is your time to thrive. It is your time to thrive. And there is no good reason that anyone has why they cannot thrive and flourish and prosper and shine and live the most glorious life possible here and now forevermore.
Hey, everybody. Our mission here at the Heart Coherence Collaborative is to get people in touch with the healing power of the heart.
And we really need your help. Right now, only 1% of viewers subscribe. We are aiming to take that number to 6%.
The reason why we want to do that is the more people that subscribe, the more people in the world can learn the magical practice of heart coherence.
So please help us out. If you've ever listened, if you love this message, please just take a moment to subscribe.
Thank you so much.
Look.
Welcome, everybody, to the Heart Coherence Collaborative. We're so excited to have who's become our great friend, Sara Landon, back with us today. So Sara has become all our videos with Sara do so well, and the Heart Coherence Collaborative absolutely just loves you. So thank you for being back again.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you guys and your amazing community. I just always feel this expansion into this deeper and deeper capacity to love and be in that heart space every time we talk. And I just appreciate you both so much for all that you're doing and your amazing community. So let's have some fun today.
Let's go.
Yes. So I would love to hear what has happened since we saw you last, and there's any new lessons that your heart is learning.
Oh, wow. Good question. So between the time we met last and now, we did this incredible channeled activation course called Take the Quantum Leap, which was about harnessing the energy to up-level your life. And I think that's really where so many of us are right now, in that place of taking this quantum leap. And while it seemingly happens in this moment, right? The quantum leap has already occurred because of the level of consciousness you're in, the energy you're summoning, because of this heart coherence and the raising of your vibration. We've already taken this quantum leap into expansion and what's possible in the next level for our life. But it's really about allowing that and being tuned into that. And it's like in this moment it presents, and it's like, oh, wow, that quantum leap, I took the quantum leap, and this is the manifestation of it. But it's our brain that likes to try to figure it out. How do I do that? What do I have to do? What else do I have to do? I have to be better at this. I have to do this right. And it's not really about any of that. It's just about receiving, and the instant manifestation of receiving is expansion, which is what allows you to take that quantum leap. So I bring that to everybody's awareness because I think that's really where we are right now in this time of seeing our whole life up level in every area, from your body to your relationships to your finances, abundance, prosperity in your life. And it's really time for us to thrive. You know, the council says the journey is really to realization. So awakening is one part of the journey. And they say it's, the journey of the master to come into awakening, and then from awakening into realization, which is the integration of every part of you. And then they say, at this time on earth, the opportunity is to stay in a body on earth and to thrive and live in abundance and beauty and harmony and well-being, where in the past, centuries ago or decades ago, the vibration, the love, the consciousness wasn't as it is now on the planet. And so a lot of times when someone came into enlightenment or realization, they left the planet. But we're really encouraged to stay here and to live fully and love fully and be all that we are. And the council really assures us that this is our time to prosper and to flourish and to thrive and to really shine. And so I encourage everyone, no matter who you are, where you are, whatever age you are, however long you've been on this spiritual path, it's really time to shift into that energy of thriving and flourishing and prospering and shining in your life exactly where you are.
For anyone watching us, there's people here who are joining us for this interview. So I just want to let everyone watching know, and some of them have submitted questions. So one of the questions we received was, what is the most profound message you've ever received from the council? Was there ever a message that when you received it like shook you, or you were like, whoa?
Yes. One night I was sitting there and I received the inspiration to ask the question, what is the most important or biggest or most out there question that's never been asked or that I've never asked to the council? And I went, whoa, okay. So I asked the question, and immediately they channeled the answer through, and this profound answer came in, and it was, if all lives are happening now, if there is really no time and space and everything is now, then as we awaken and come into realization in this life, does every aspect of us in every life, in every existence in the universe also come into realization? And it was so profound. And I was like, wow, I could feel the truth of it, even though my logical mind couldn't make sense of it. And it was so interesting because that was really the time when I, was understanding the difference between awakening and realization, and that, coming into realization, you come into your wholeness, your perfection, you remember, you live in truth, you come fully into your power. And so I was really feeling the connection to that time of realization in my life at that point. And a few days or weeks later, I can't remember how long it was at this point, I had this dream. And I dream a lot. Some are very bizarre. And some are so profound that I remember them. I never forget them. And I know it's a timeline, it's a reality. And so what happened was I was in a truck from like the 60s or 50s maybe, driving down a dirt road with my cousin who passed away in a car crash, an airplane. My brother passed away in a car accident. My cousin passed away in an airplane crash about 10 years after my brother. And we were always really close. And in this dream, I was this young girl, and I was sitting in the truck, and my cousin was my dad. And it was like the 50s or the 60s, and we were driving down this dirt road. And I, as a young girl in this car, came into this moment of realization, and I knew the answers to everything. I was like enlightened as a little child in that moment, and conscious and aware of everything. And so I believe that was the council's way of showing me the truth of that statement of how important your frequency, your vibration, your consciousness level is in this life, in this moment, to every aspect of you in all of time and space. Early on in my journey, especially as part of my awakening experience, when I first heard about past lives, that just seemed obvious to me. It just seemed like it made perfect sense. It explained so much to me. And it was really a part of my awakening, the influence of understanding past lives, like the book, Many Lives, Many Masters, and all those incredible teachings out there. And now in the consciousness level and the vibration and the awareness that we're in now, that so much past life isn't really part of my focus. It's more really understanding how important this life is to every experience that your soul is having in all of eternity, even though our soul is already in the state of pure source energy, and we come from the divine, we return to the divine. Our soul, I believe, is always in the energy and the essence of the divine that is who we really are. But that was a really profound shift to me. And then they showed me it expands to everyone. The consciousness that you're in this moment, the love that you're in this moment, the harmony you're feeling within yourself in this moment is what you are contributing to humanity in this moment, and the most important contribution that you make. So you can want to do all this work to help people, and yet you're really overwhelmed and stressed out and anxious and feeling not good enough, but you're really trying to help people. The most important thing that you can do in this moment is come into stillness and presence and your power in the moment and align to your own abundance and well-being and beauty and harmony and freedom and love within and joy. And that's what you're contributing. The other thing that I will say, I have a new book coming out with Hay House in 2025, which I'm excited about, which is the 15 Success Principles of Self-Realization. And right now, I will say the one that I think is so prevalent and so important, and something if you took one thing that the council says and you really apply it in your life and really contemplate it and really practice it such that it becomes your mastery, I think it's one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself, but one of the most important things that you can do for others. And I'll further explain. The council said very early on, everything is always happening for you. It's not happening to you. You're not a victim. There's not a puppet master up there pulling your strings and doing things to you, right? It's not happening to you. Everything is always happening for you. And that wasn't necessarily new information that I'd never heard before, but there was something more to it that I needed in order to really understand that. And they followed that with, everything is always happening for you. Everything is always happening for you to bring you into new levels of your power, so that you can see where you're giving your power away, where you can see where you have habits of being a victim, where you see where you go into not being good enough or not worthy, bringing you into new levels of your power so you can get clear on what you really want, so you can intentionally and consciously create your life the way you want it to be. And so as I really took that in, I could see every event in my life, especially the things that seemed like the worst things that ever happened to me, as, oh my gosh, wow, those things were really the catalyst to bring me into new levels of my power, new levels of consciousness, new level of awareness, to get clear on what I really wanted, crystal clear on what I really wanted. And I was able to really create the reality that I wanted as a result of some of those things that you might look at and go, oh, this is terrible, right? My parents divorced when I was 7. At the time, it was really traumatic to me. And yet I can look back at it now. At 7 years old, we moved out of state. We moved in at first and then close to my aunt, Sunny, who in the 70s and 80s was studying with channels and had a spiritual teacher and was traveling around the world learning about spirituality, metaphysics, past lives, reincarnation, all of this stuff. And so I was exposed to that at a really young age. I also was given the opportunity, because my family lived on a horse farm, a horse ranch. I had horses, and I realized this much deeper connection that I have and still have to this day with horses, and the part of my life that I believe is my destiny as it relates to horses and my family's legacy of horses. And so you can take anything in your life. My brother's transition in 2001, I had cancer at a very young age. I went through a very difficult divorce. I left a very successful career to pursue my purpose, had no idea what it was. Again, as I mentioned, my beloved cousin, it was like a brother to me, passed away in an airplane crash. And there was all these things that once I had that powerful teaching from the council, I could look back and see that those were the times in my life when I accepted those things and it came into my power and I received the clarity and I started taking all of that energy of, oh, why did this happen to me, to, okay, how is this happening for me? I can see that those were some of the biggest quantum leaps or shifts in my life towards creating my reality the way I want it to be.
Love that.
That's a great question.
Great answer. I would love to hear more about this journey, because you are one of the unique people in the world who had some kind of gift or passion in the spiritual or healing realm and actually created a life where you're doing that and it's fulfilling. So, two things. One, what are some signs that you experience that other people could, that you're really on the right path and should pursue something? And two, how did you manage? Everybody kind of says follow your bliss, but the truth is when you create a business, there's a lot of possibly unpleasant or scary parts. So how did you navigate that while you were going through it to actually create this?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. First off, everybody has a gift. Everybody is here with gifts, abilities, talents, skills that are unique and precious to you. And even if two people, like there's lots of other people who are spiritual teachers or channels, but it will only express through you the way it expresses through you. And that will always be unique, even if you do something similar to what someone else does. And so don't compare your gifts. If you have something that you want to share and bring to the world, and it's who you are and what you're passionate about, remember that you're the only one that can bring that through you the way that you do, and it will always be unique for you. We came here to not only explore everything that's here in the human experience, but we came here to play spiritual roles. And one of the most profound teachings from the council was called the 11 Spiritual Roles of the Soul, which we're now turning into a book, which helps people to understand that some people are here as messengers. Some people are here as connectors. Some people are here as uplifters, way showers, guides, and there's several more. But all of those roles are really important. Like, think about what you guys are doing. You are way showers, you are connectors, you are guides, you are uplifters. But let's just take the role of the connectors. You're connecting spiritual teachers and wisdom and information to all these people around the world that are looking for wisdom, guidance, information on these particular topics. And so that role of connector is really important. And so everybody has gifts, everybody has abilities, everybody has these spiritual roles that we're here to play. The other thing I'd like to say is everything is spiritual. So being an author, being a teacher, channeling the council, you might look at that and go, oh, that's spiritual. They have a spiritual podcast. They have a spiritual platform. Oh, that's spiritual. And then you look at, oh, well, that person's a janitor or that person's a dental hygienist. Mm-hmm. That is just as spiritual as anything else, right? In fact, we can all probably think of someone. I recently shared this on my Facebook page of this woman who works at a school, an elementary school, and they ended up naming the school after her. She was like the custodian. She was the bus driver. She was like the recess, person that watched the kids. She had all these seemingly not so important roles, right? But yet she did it with such love and such kindness and compassion. They named the school after her. I use the example as a dental hygienist because I had this dental hygienist in my life at a place that I used to live that I absolutely loved to go to the dentist because this woman was just so incredible. She would talk to me about the most amazing things. And I was having the most incredible spiritual experience getting my teeth cleaned. Mm-hmm. So whatever you do it knowing that this is your platform. Your life is your platform. Whether you are a dental hygienist seeing patients, or you have your own community and platform that you've created, or you're writing books, or you're, sharing information, or you're channeling yourself, everybody has something that they're passionate about. But ultimately, it's your own uniqueness and how you express love and light and wisdom through you. For me, I can look back now and see how divinely guided every step was along the way for me. I can see why it was really important to be passionate about being an entrepreneur and have business experience and have the opportunities that I had in my corporate or professional life that have tremendously benefited bringing the council's wisdom to the world. I truly know that you can do what you love and do what you're passionate about and create the things you want to create. And the most important thing is you have to know you're worthy of that. And what helped me was, early on, it was like, well, this is the council's wisdom. I need to bring the council's wisdom to the world. The council's wisdom is worthy. But there came a point where they're like, wait a minute, you are just as important to that. And you, this is you. We are you. We are a part of you. And you got to bring yourself into that equation. So you have to know that you are worthy. The other thing that I will say is, I use the example a lot because probably most people can relate. A lot of times someone will say, oh, I want to do this, but I'm not good at technology. Oh, I want to have a business, but I hate the managing the numbers and taxes and those types of things, accounting. And the first step in that is you got to shift your perspective. Most of the time, it's just a habit. I have someone in my life who will remain nameless, but she likes to just tell me basically every time I talk to her, no matter what it is about, like my cell phone could be, the tower coverage could not be great and I'm garbled. And she'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm so terrible with technology. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, it's just the cell tower. No worry. Right. But some people have this habit of, oh, I'm terrible with technology. Oh, I'm terrible with accounting. I'm terrible. I don't want to have to even deal with taxes. Right. One of the examples I give is I was having that experience early on in my business, and I ended up getting connected to, because of the work that I did and the person that I was talking to knew what I did and was part of my work. A friend of mine referred me to this, accountant, and I walk in day one, probably how anybody would feel going to their new accountant. We talked about my business for about 5 minutes, and then he's like, all right, let's talk about the council. And we had this incredible dialogue, and we became really great friends and had the most amazing conversations. That was my accountant until he passed away. So you got to shift your perspective. I love numbers. I love technology. I have people on my team that are even more in love with technology than me and add tremendous value from a technological perspective. But you've got to make the shift to, I love having a business. I love learning things. I love when I embrace the accounting part of it and play with the numbers, and I've learned to love the numbers, right? And the same is true with money. And I've learned this from my students and I've learned this from the council, but there is this belief that, oh, if you're spiritual, you don't like money, right? Or to make money, you have to be doing work, but it's wrong to make money on something that's spiritual. And you guys will understand this, but I've gotten that comment before. You should make this all free. And I'm like, it's not free. I have to pay the technology people. I have to pay for the Zoom account. I have to pay for the email service. I have to pay for all the lighting and the equipment and the stuff that we use. I pay a team of people, technology people, content people, people that help this isn't free. This isn't free. And there is an energetic exchange. And for most anybody, if you are giving and giving and giving and giving and giving and serving and serving and giving, and you're never allowing it to come back to you, you will get burned out and you will quit, no matter what it is, a business or something else. So you have to have an energetic exchange there. You have to have the give and receive, and it has to feel whole to both parties. So if someone doesn't value paying for spiritual or channeled information, no problem, right? Other people understand that they can use this information, apply it in their life to create their reality and create their best relationships and well-being and abundance and freedom and a beautiful, amazing, joyful life. And so they value that. And so one of my students asked one time the council about making money doing a spiritual business that they loved. And the council's answer was, everything's spiritual. There's no difference between the energetic exchange for what you're sharing with the world and the energetic exchange that the dental hygienist receives for the work that they're sharing with the world. And so I think a lot of times people need to make those shifts in their journey if they want to bring their passion or their gifts to the world. It's actually really fun. It's this beautiful journey of becoming. I leave my ancient, we'll just call him ancient, 10, 11 years ago. I didn't know where to start. I wasn't ready to bring the council to the world on a YouTube video for sure. And in fact, I think I swore that would never happen. And so I did what I could at that moment, which is I would take some of the council's teachings, or I would take topics like abundance or overcoming limiting beliefs, and I would just make these short pre-recorded videos, and then I would upload them to YouTube. It's mortifying to me to see those now. Because I've come so far. However, I want people to see where I started and that wherever they're starting is perfect. And most of my students that start sharing on YouTube the way I did 11 years ago are so far beyond where I was even back then. And so start where you are. Just start where you are. And worthiness and being good enough and being enough comes up for people a lot when they're trying to share their passion. And you can create your own barrier or perception of being stuck or being blocked when you have this deep-seated belief that you're not worthy of doing what you love and you're not worthy of doing what you're passionate about, that you haven't done enough yet. And I even have to catch myself with this. Like I said, I'm in the process of writing my 5th book with Hay House called The 11 Spiritual Roles of the Soul. And, I have a date with my publisher of when I submit that manuscript, and we're coming close to that date. And I found myself getting into this habit of, I have to work on the book, even though it's a beautiful day and I want to go for a walk. I haven't done enough yet. I only get to play when the work is done. And the council would have said, or would say, follow the energy and let the light guide the way. And at that point, the energy wasn't in writing the book. So to try to force myself to get into that energy isn't going to result in the type of, content that I want in the way I want it to come through. So I did. I went out, I enjoyed the sunshine. And then all of a sudden, as I was out in nature, all these downloads for the book started happening. And I thought, oh my gosh, I could do this and I could do that. And I came back and I sat on my computer for hours. You've got to make that shift to knowing it's not about this endless cycle of I'm not good enough yet. I haven't done enough yet. I still have to do more. I have to do more and more and more before I can be free to do what I want, before I can be happy, before I do what brings me joy. It's actually completely opposite. When you do what brings you joy, all the energy comes in to support you in those things that you want to do with your gifts and your passions.
Love that.
Love that too. Yes. So is that enough if you just focus on joy to say heal ancestral trauma? Because one of the questions we received is, I'm trying to heal trauma that I'm not sure where it came from. I'm having pains, physical pains. How do I get rid of it if I don't know where it came from? Is just following your passion enough?
Well, so interesting that you're saying this, because I was working on an entire part of the book, which is about the transformer. That is one of the spiritual roles that some people come here to play, is the role of a transformer. And in most cases, they come here to transform generations of negativity, abuse, addiction, prejudice, these unconscious behaviors, patterns, and habits that are unconsciously in some families handed down for generation to generation to generation. And it is sometimes the most courageous, souls that choose, especially as a child, to incarnate into a family dynamic where they have no idea that that's what they're doing, but they are coming into these places where there might be drug abuse or alcohol abuse or sexual abuse or physical abuse that just gets handed down, and nobody knows any other way. And so they just continue these behaviors or the negativity until that transformer comes in and says, no more. This stops with me. And I always go back to one of my students when the council first brought that information through, because it was really emotional for a lot of people, because they finally understood why they had the family they had and why they went through what they went through. You are not what has happened to you. You are so much more than you could ever imagine. But as a little child, you might not remember that this is why you're here or what you have chosen. And so I think of this one particular student I have that was born into an alcoholic family. And the parents were alcoholics, the grandparents were alcoholics, the grandfathers were alcoholics, and all of her siblings were alcoholics. She went to college and she started drinking at a very young age. I think it was like 11 or 12 or 13 years old, because alcohol was always around and that's all everybody did. So that's what she started doing. By the time she got to college, she was doing drugs and, pass out drunk many, many, many times. And somewhere in her mid-20s, she came across some sort of spiritual book or spiritual teacher or something and had this awakening experience. And she said, in that moment, I stopped drinking. I stopped doing drugs. And I just knew. I just remembered who I was. And I was like, no more. This stops with me. And she still this day is sober. She has children. She has grandchildren. She's created this incredibly beautiful, healthy, conscious, loving family. She was a conscious, loving parent to her children. There is no alcoholism in the generations that have followed her because it stopped with her. And it might be severe negativity. It might be a poverty mindset. I grew up on a Native American Indian reservation in Montana. And, I witnessed the incredible sacredness of Indigenous cultures and Indigenous people and Native Americans and their traditions and their cultures. And the opposite side of it was a lot of times people never left the reservation. And so the prejudice that they felt, the hopelessness that they felt, the shame that they felt was passed down from generations, and they just took it on. And in some cases, in some families, there were, drug addicted parents and drug addicted kids and the kids of those kids. And it just kept getting handed down. And not to say that doesn't happen in all cultures, but it was an example of a belief that you shouldn't leave the reservation because those people aren't like us. Right. And in many ways, people chose to stay because of their deep culture and traditions, and they wanted to be part of it. But, we can take on things that we have no idea have been handed down from generation to generation. And you don't have to know all of those things. I never got to meet my maternal grandfather. I hear stories about him, but his lineage was passed down to his children, which was my mom and my aunt and my uncle. And so I'm a product of, that generation and lineage that's passed down. And so becoming aware and conscious and living in the moment, in your power, and being conscious and knowing that all of your power is in this moment. You don't have to know what some of that ancestral or generational trauma is. And we label it that. And sometimes people might think, oh, I don't think I have that. But like, for example, certain people in my family definitely have this belief of living a very simple life. We'll never have money. We'll never have the nice things. We're very simple people. We're not city folk. We're not wealthy people, right? And so they carry on this small, stay small and safe is what I learned. And I realized that that wasn't the truth of me. And I wanted to live a big life and have, an amazing life and opportunities. And that's not one better than the other. So it doesn't even have to be trauma. It could just be a belief, a habit, a pattern of thinking. And so the most important thing is being in your power in this now moment, coming into the highest perspective, right? I have a person in my life whose father is a very severe alcoholic. He is the nicest man when he is sober. He is one of the most loving, kind, compassionate, helpful, generous men when he's sober. And yet, in the rare occasions when he drinks, it's, to oblivion. And he's violent. And yet, if you dig into the story, his father was very violent. And I can think of, another friend whose father was physically very abusive, and she hated him and had nothing to do with him until he was coming to the end of his life. And an aunt or someone in her family shared with her how her grandfather, who she never met, had treated her father, and that they basically, treated them worse than animals. And that's why her father was that way. And having that understanding, she was able to forgive him and reconnect with him at the very end of his life. And so hurt people. And this abuse and pain and trauma and struggle, and it can't exist in a conscious loving state. And so sometimes we have to seek to understand, and we may not ever know, but we do know that, for some reason that person was hurt. And for some reason, this pattern of unconsciousness was just handed down. And we are all in this life to raise the consciousness, to raise the vibration, to come into the love and the joy and the harmony that's here for us. And so for someone who's maybe remembering something traumatic or feels like they just can't get over something traumatic, to tell them to go do what brings them joy may not be the next step for them. The first step might be acceptance, to accept and to seek to understand. And the council says the instant manifestation of acceptance is peace. And maybe for them in that moment, the most important thing is to come into a place of peace. And maybe once they're in peace, they can come to a place of compassion and understanding. And once they feel that compassion, understanding, and love for themselves, then maybe they can move into joy. And the council says the instant manifestation of allowing is joy. So once you get into that place of, I am worthy and I'm not what's happened to me, I am a divine, infinite being of pure love and light, and that's who I really am. And, my parents or my grandparents or the generations before me didn't have maybe the consciousness level that I have now. And in that, I know that I'm here to create a life that brings me joy, a life that I love. To add to that very first question about things that have stopped me in my track that the council has said, they recently brought through, you are the realization of the dream of all who have come before you. You are the realization of your grandparents' dreams, of your parents' dreams. You're the realization, generation before generation, that you may not even know by name. You are the realization of the dream of all who have come before you. And I can't tell you how many times one of my students will be asking a question or in this conversation with the council, and they're going back to when did you have the first thought that you were unworthy, the council would say. And one particular student said, I was about 3 years old, and my dad told me I was fat, and I wasn't I felt rejected. I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel loved because it didn't look the way my dad wanted me to look. And that perpetuated all through her life, essentially, that she was unworthy because of her weight. And that, was something that was a deep wound for her. And so she was talking to the council. Well, her dad had since passed years prior. And, they brought her into this moment of connecting to her father, where he is now, and what does he want to say to you? And instantly it was, I'm so proud of you. You're beautiful. I love you so much. I couldn't be more proud of you or love you anymore. And that's really the truth of how he felt about her and how his higher self feels about her and how he sees her. But we don't typically connect to that part of our loved ones on the other side. We go back into the stories of what they said that traumatized us forever. Right. And so as part of coming into realization, it's the integration of every part of you. So if you're rejecting that part of you that as a little girl, a little boy, you were told you were fat, and you think that part of you is not good enough, and you are rejecting through your memory or repeating the story or what someone else said to you, or you've created a pattern now or a habit for yourself of denying love for yourself because when you look in the mirror, you don't think you're worthy. That is our opportunity. Realization is the integration of every part of you. You can't be rejecting some part of you and come into the realization of all that you are. So yes, you can use the process of connecting to your loved ones on the other side, and I assure you, you will receive nothing but love. The other part of it is for you to become conscious of when you're unconsciously denying love for yourself or rejecting some part of you, because in that moment, you're keeping yourself from the natural evolution of your own realization. And so when the moment we come into realization, as we continue to focus and choose to be in the realization and the integration of every part of us, the council says the past is healed and you are whole. You know your completeness, you know your perfection. And so they don't encourage that you go into the trauma and talk about it over and over and over and over and over. Just like a past life, what they would encourage you to do is that there's a timeline available to you right now because everything is happening now, right? And as you bring yourself into realization in this life, every aspect of you, including those aspects of you that are your younger self, as you come into realization in those moments, they come into realization. So there's a timeline where the father said to her, "You are so beautiful. I love you so much. You deserve everything good in life. You are the most important thing to me. And nothing you could ever do could change how much I love you and how precious and how beautiful you are. And I think you look beautiful just as you are. Don't lose any weight. You're absolutely perfect." There's a timeline where that's what the father said. And there's a timeline where that's where she says to herself. That's what she says to herself. And when you go into that, you can feel that shift. You can feel the shift. You have created a new reality in this moment. And then moving into realization becomes a natural evolution. Does that make sense?
It definitely makes sense. And I see this a lot with people I talk to and help, where they try to run towards joy instead of finding that peace and acceptance like you talked about first. And it seems like as a result, they always end up on the hamster wheel instead of actually having slowed down and made that peace that needed to be made.
Yeah.
May we speak with the council?
Oh.
Yes, absolutely. You guys know the drill. I'm just going to take a couple deep breaths and they'll begin and then go to your questions.
Beautiful.
Okay.
That was awesome, by the way. That was great.
Here we go. We are so pleased and delighted to have the opportunity to speak with you on this fine and glorious day indeed. While our words to you are important, this is a vibrational experience of remembering your infinite perfection and the love that you are. You are here because of your great love And it's time to fully understand the power of the light that you are in your life and in this world. You are here during the greatest awakening of human consciousness that has ever occurred in any lifetime. You have gone through your own awakening, moving fully into realization to truly live as the enlightened master that you are. And every single one of you that are hearing this, either live or at some point in the future, we are speaking to you, no exceptions. You came as a realized master of great love. You have always been a realized master of great love. You will always be a realized master of great love. You can deny it. You can pretend that you're not. But it is who you are and always will be. And this is the perfect time that you have drawn to you the awareness so that you can remember who you really are, why you are here, and all that you intended when you chose this magnificent life experience. We will go to your questions.
What does it mean to create from the heart rather than the mind? And how does this shift impact the collective consciousness?
Well, most people are taught and trained to go to their logical mind to push and force and effort and take massive action to get things done. And while it isn't wrong, it is a habit of the third dimension, because there is a limited amount of energy that you're summoning when you're in lower levels of consciousness. The third dimension is the dimension of separation, where you believe you're separate from what you want, from source, from others. You are in lack and limitation and fear. And so the level of consciousness you're in is determining the amount of energy that you're summoning, which is your own light into form. And so when you're in a lower dimension of consciousness, you have to push and force and effort and struggle. And you really can't do that with your heart. You do that through the logical mind. We encourage you to bring your heart, your mind, your body, and your soul all into harmony. They all have a powerful role in your perfection. But when one is first understanding all of their power, to go from the logical mind and create the habit of using the power of your energy center, which is the heart. You focus on going into the heart. You focused on going into the heart because your old habit was just to go to your logical mind. That's not what your brain is intended to do. When you go from your head down into your heart, you connect into an energy power source that you have to create, to raise your vibration, to raise your frequency, to summon energy, such that you may create your reality in a way that is easy and effortless and harmonious and fun. And again, there is also the physical body. There is the logical mind, there's the heart, but there's this incredible physical body that you have that allows you the opportunity to experience physical form. It's just as important. And then there is your soul, the part of you that is always guiding you. Your soul is the consciousness and the energy that is always guiding you. And so you intended to use your brain and your logical mind to interpret your physical senses, to analyze, to memorize. It serves a great purpose in the human experience. But you never intended to do so without the consciousness and energy and light of your soul that is what is always guiding you, that knows the divine orchestration unfolding here, that is always part of the divine symphony of perfection that is unfolding here. And so we would emphasize the integration of the heart, the mind, the body, and the soul into your absolute perfection and harmony with all that is? Really good question.
What is the current trajectory of humanity's collective evolution?
Humanity has already crossed the tipping point or the threshold to come into the great awakening, which is unfolding on earth at this time. You have more consciousness on earth than ever before, more love on earth, more light on earth than ever before, as a result of many of you stepping into your own awakening and realization. However, you are never going to rid collective human consciousness of the third dimension of separation and all that exists there. But as more and more and more come fully into the awakened state and into realization, they will elevate themselves individually and collectively, humanity as a whole, out of the third dimension of separation into the fourth dimension of transformation, which many are, and then ultimately into the fifth dimension of pure love. And if it is your choosing now, your timeline here and now can be in the fifth dimension of pure love and a new earth and your experience of heaven on earth. But the second you go back and you focus yourself into the collective human consciousness, which may be in an experience of lack or limitation, now you're contributing your energy to that. There is already a new earth collective consciousness that has been created. And when you're focused in peace and joy and love and harmony and raising your vibration and raising your consciousness and summoning more energy and being more the light and the love that you are, you're focused into that fifth dimension of pure love consciousness or new earth consciousness or heaven on earth consciousness, which is rapidly expanding and will someday become far-reaching and widespread throughout all of humanity's collective consciousness.
Why does the human experience often rely on pain or challenge for expansion? And is it possible to evolve purely through joy?
Absolutely, indeed, you can evolve exclusively through joy and love and peace and harmony and well-being if you believe you're worthy of it, if you believe it's possible, and if you choose it. In some cases, your habits are so strong that the only way to get your attention is through pain or trauma or challenge. Some only find their own awakening or realization through pain. It doesn't have to be that way, but if nothing good ever comes easy, and that's a belief you have, you'll take the difficult, challenging way because you don't believe you're worthy of the easy, effortless, harmonious way. And so it's a level of consciousness. It is really about your level of consciousness. The third dimension, when you are in the heaviness of the third dimension and not summoning a whole lot of energy, your body's not going to heal very fast. But in the moment you elevate your consciousness into pure love, your body starts regenerating and rejuvenating its natural state of well-being expeditiously. But again, it all comes back to the level of your consciousness. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So your feelings of unworthiness, not good enough, what's wrong with me, are always going to entangle you in lower dimensions of consciousness. The third dimension, separation, lack, limitation, fear, struggle, effort, force, pain, disease, poverty, all of those things. When you move into the fourth dimension, that's the dimension of transformation. You can change things. You can transform things. You're not your circumstances and conditions. You can change them. You can transform them. You can change your body. You can change your relationships. You can change the way you look. You can change your finances. And that's more empowering than to be in the third dimension. And there is more energy in that dimension of transformation because you're in a higher level of consciousness, summoning more energy than being in separation. But your ultimate purpose and potential is to come into the fifth dimension of pure love. And to do so, you must move out of judgment about what's wrong with you, about what's wrong with these circumstances and conditions. So when you go beyond judgment into pure love, you see everything from a grander perspective. You see how everything is happening for you to bring you into new levels of your power so that you can get clear on what you really want and create your reality the way you want it to be. And some people would say, well, I'm in so much pain and life's been so hard, I don't even know what I want. And to you, we would say, you absolutely do. Do you want sickness or do you want health? Do you want poverty or do you want abundance? Do you want pain or do you want joy? Do you want fear or do you want love? You know, you all want joy, peace, love, harmony, freedom, well-being, abundance. You all want the same things. And within that, there's every potential and possibility and opportunity available to you. And so when you say, I don't even know what I want, my life's been so difficult, I've been in pain for so long, I don't even know what I want to create. You do. You want health. You want well-being. You want peace. You want love. You want joy. Just the shift to, I do know. I know. I want to experience harmony in my body. I want to experience peace in my body. I want to feel good in my body. I want to feel healthy. I want to do the things I love to do. You know what you want. Good question.
So we hear a lot of people talk about the new earth and how there could potentially be two separate earths. Is there also going to be two separate humans? And is this, if so, is this new human going to evolve physically? And what will that look like?
Well, let us explain it this way first. Understand that it's different levels of consciousness. And you already see examples of this all over. Think about a place where you have gone on Earth somewhere, a town, a part of a city, where you went, ooh, I don't like it here, and these aren't my people. I don't fit in here. I don't belong here. I'm not comfortable here. And then think about another part of the world or place that you've been. It may be your home, but it may be someplace else where you go, I love it there. Those are my people. I want to be there all the time. I feel so good when I'm there. There's like-minded people there. The things that they do there are the things I love to do. You all can come up with some sort of example like this. And the perspective of the new earth is no different. It's got a different vibration. It's got a different state of consciousness. It attracts different people. These two different locations that you're thinking about, the one that you prefer and the one that you don't prefer. There's a different level of vibration there. There's a different level of consciousness there. That consciousness and vibration attracts different types of people and different types of opportunities or lack of. And so think about it like that, because it's already happening. There's already places that you love and people that you love and areas that you love that you feel really good there and they feel really aligned there and the consciousness feels higher there and the vibration feels higher there and it feels like there's more energy when you're there. And so take that perspective into a new earth. You are creating essentially a whole new potential and possibility within the human body and in the human experience for any and all who are ready and are choosing it. And so you don't have to push against what you might refer to as the old earth. Again, you're never going to rid the old earth of the third dimension. And that's what so many people try to do, and they get frustrated and meet with a lot of resistance. They're trying to change everything and everyone so that they can have the reality that they want to experience. And we'll say the new earth and its consciousness and all of its opportunities and potential and possibilities and all of the amazing people that are already living it are here and now and available to you. You get to choose. And indeed, because you're in a higher level of consciousness, you're going to be summoning more energy and you're going to have a lot more potential and possibility within the physical body and its capabilities and its efficiencies. And you will live in higher levels of vibration and light and frequency. It's all your light. And you will find that there is no more disease. There is no more decay of the body. You come into the physical body, you play, you create, you have fun. And when you're complete here, you peacefully, intentionally, joyfully release the density of the body and continue your journey in higher dimensions of consciousness beyond physical form. There is no death. There is no decay. There is no disease as a way to make your transition. Because you're living in such levels of consciousness, you know that that can be a peaceful, harmonious experience. And there's many other examples. But again, you cannot take your unworthiness, your shame, your guilt, your pain, your trauma, your struggle, your chaos, your lack, your limitation, your fear. You cannot take that into the new earth. And so the best analogy that we could give you, and you say, well, how do I get to the new earth? Imagine it like an airplane sitting at the tarmac, at the gate, ready and waiting to take you on the vacation of a lifetime to the life of your dreams. The plane is pulled up to the gate waiting for you. And you say, I'm going, I'm excited, I'm going to the new earth. You're all ready, you're going to the new earth, and you get to the security checkpoint, but you've packed unworthiness, a habit of lack and limitation, struggle, doubt, frustration, resistance, anger for things that happen to you, judgment of people and things. And you get to the security checkpoint, eager and excited to get to your plane to take you into a new earth and your experience of heaven on earth. And the security person says, you can't take this stuff with you. You either have to leave it behind here, throw it in the trash, or you can't pass through the security checkpoint. And so what's happening for most people is they're coming into knowing their infinite worthiness. They're aligning to their abundance and their well-being. They're going beyond forgiveness into knowing that there's only love. They're living in peace and harmony within themselves. So they get to the security checkpoint and they say, welcome aboard. So what most of you are doing, or what a lot of you are doing, is transcending, not your physical body ascending out of the physical form. You are transcending shame, lack, limitation, habits, negativity, judgment, all of these things. And as you transcend, for example, your own belief in lack and limitation, you raise your vibration, you start summoning more energy. Then you transcend unworthiness, you raise your vibration, you're summoning more energy. And you get to this point where you come into realization of all that you are, and the past is healed, and you are in your wholeness and your completeness and your perfection. You are in a state of pure love. Your well-being and abundance is assured. The next perfect step comes to you. You live in the magnificence of true creation, where what you want and need shows up even before you know you need it. Opportunities, potentials, and possibilities show up, and it's a yes. It comes to you. And you will know as you realize that the new earth is here and now, if it is your choosing. You're here to experience your heaven on earth. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
What guidance would you have for someone who has wanted something for so long that is not happening and cannot seem to unwant this thing or erase the desire, but it seems almost torturous?
Well, it sounds like it's very, 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 very specific. And even if what you want is already your reality, you can't see it, you can't experience it, because it's so specific to you that what you're focused on and the meaning you give it won't allow you to see it as your reality. So let's take, for example, abundance or money specifically. I want more money or a certain amount of money, or I want this physical healing, but it hasn't happened, or I want the love of my life, but they're not here and I've been waiting. When you're holding yourself in that resistance, you're constricting, you're lowering your consciousness, you're lowering your vibration, you're not summoning a whole lot of energy, and you're not going to experience yourself as a very powerful creator. The other thing is that what you are perceiving is going to determine what you experience. So if your perception is, it's not happening, it's not happening, it's not happening, it's not happening, I'm looking everywhere, I don't see it, it's not here, it's not happening, that's what you will continue to create. So we say that, first off, your dreams and desires are inspired within you by your soul for the purpose of expansion. You're here for expansion, you're here to express yourself, and you're here to choose the experiences you want to have for you. So if you shift the specificness of what you have wanted that isn't here, how can you shift it to, not I want it, but how fun would it be to experience, and then allow it to be general? So make the shift from I've wanted it for so long and it's not happened, to how would it feel if it did? How would it feel if it did? And how fun would that be? How fun would it be? How would it feel to experience that thing? Start to shift into that, and you'll find that there's a lot less resistance. We say that someone who has wanted something for a really, really, really long time, and they've had a vision board, and they've meditated on it every day, and they visualized, and day after day after day after day after day, even though they think they've put all this energy into it, that is far less powerful than a shift in your perspective, where in this moment you have an inspiration and you experience the instant manifestation because there is no resistance to it. And so the shift to how would it feel and how fun would that be? Do you want to give us a specific example?
Maybe somebody who is looking for love in a family.
So again, when someone says, I want love, and I want the love of my life, I want my soulmate, and I want my children, it's very specific. My soulmate, my children. You are being so specific that unless it's mine, there's no love. And you don't have love, and you don't have love, and you don't have a family. And you continue to focus on and give meaning to your experience and create the reality of, I don't have love and I don't have a family. If you shift that to think of all the people in your life that you do love. Think of the people in your life that may even be friends or pets that are your family. I do have a family. This friend of mine is family. This dog, this cat, they're family. I have this person that I love and that person I love. Look at all the love that I have. Start thinking about the people in your life and what you love about them. Start focusing on all the people that have come into your life and just instantly felt like family to you. I do have love. I do have family. That shift in your perspective creates an opening and instead of the resistance that you've had, it is the shift in your perspective that can allow your reality to shift almost instantly. But again, why do you want the family? Why do you want the love? What are you going to feel? What would you experience? Go find some way in this day to experience it right here, right now. We had a student once that came to us and said, I have this dream in my heart that I've wanted for so long, but it's absolutely impossible. And we said, what is it? She said, well, I'm 70 years old and all of my friends have grandchildren. And for the longest time, I've wanted grandchildren, but I'll never have grandchildren because I never had children. So this dream of having grandchildren is not possible for me. And this thing I want, I can never have. And we said, okay, well, in the spirit of anything's possible, that you can go into your imagination and create your reality the way you want it to be. If you were to go into your imagination, how many grandchildren do you have? And she said, I would have 3. And we would say, how old? And we said, how old would they be? She said, this one would be this age and this age, and this one would be this age, and there'd be 2 girls and a boy, or 2 boys and a girl. And we said, well, what would you do with your grandchildren if you had grandchildren? She said, oh, I would bake for them. They would come visit me. We would color and we would do art projects and we would eat cookies. And how fun would that be? And so we said, okay, instead of focusing on how you can never have grandchildren, whenever this desire comes up, we want you to go into your imagination and play with your grandchildren there. What would you do today with your grandchildren? Oh, I would bake peanut butter cookies today. And we would color with water paint today. We would do this paint by number water painting. Okay, perfect. Go do that in your imagination. Well, about a month later, a new family moved into the house next to her. And she went over to introduce herself and met the woman of the household who said that they had just recently moved there from out of state for her husband's job, and they had 3 children. And that they were adjusting to the move because they missed their grandparents so much back from the place they used to live. And so she started baking cookies for the new neighbor kids. And they started coming over to visit her after school and on weekends. And she started creating little art projects for them. And although in her imagination, she might have had 2 girls and a boy, and in this reality, there were 2 boys and a girl, she literally was having the experience of feeling the love and the joy and the fun of having grandparents and grandchildren together. That she could be a grandmother to these children who missed their grandparents so much. And she came back to us and said how amazing and happy she was. And then the question might be, so did I really create this family? Did I manifest this family moving here? Or were they in trajectory to me already, such that my soul and my higher self already knew the joy I would feel being a grandmother to these children, which is why the separation I had created was so awful? And to that we would say, both. Yes, you are the powerful creator, and there is divine orchestration going on here. And sometimes right before the realization or the shift that allows you to experience what you want as reality is the most painful part, because it's already in your field. You just don't see it yet. Really good question.
As we come into this new year, is there any specific message that you would like humanity to hear?
It's your time to thrive. It is your time to thrive. It is your time to thrive. And there is no good reason that anyone has why they cannot thrive and flourish and prosper and shine and live the most glorious life possible here and now, forevermore.
And in closing, do you have a message for the Heart Coherence Collaborative especially as we are going to engage in 30 days of getting into the heart and doing these meditations?
Well, we would encourage you to really focus on coming into harmony with every part of you. Focusing into your heart often brings you into a state of love or focused on love or feeling more peace. This is about you bringing every part of you into harmony. If you are judgmental about some part of you, it is your opportunity to come into harmony with that part of you, to ultimately integrate that part of you into your realization. If there's a person in your life you don't have harmony with, it's your opportunity to shift your perspective. Accept what is. Seek to understand. Know that there's only love and bring yourself back into a state of harmony. You don't have to create harmony with the other person, but don't use the other person as a way that you deny harmony for yourself. Your bodies are so ready to thrive. Your relationships are meant to thrive. You are meant to thrive in your passion and in sharing your gifts. And there's great power in coming into harmony. In fact, the dream, the vision for a fully awakened human family is that all beings live in harmony within themselves and with each other and the animals and the land. The fastest way for you to come into your experience of heaven on earth and a new earth is to be in harmony within yourself. That is our message to you.
Last question, I promise. Do you have a message specifically for Leah and I?
Are you having fun?
Yes.
Are you having the time of your life?
Question.
Are there really any questions? No. Keep following the energy. Let the light guide the way. Follow the energy and let the light guide the way. The next perfect step will come to you. The next perfect step will come to you. The next perfect step will come to you. We know you have a big vision. We know you want to do big things. You're already doing big things. Follow the energy. Let the light guide the way. Let the next perfect step come to you. And you will one day look back seemingly like it all occurred overnight. But it was the next perfect step, and then the next perfect step, and the next perfect step.
Thank you.
Yeah. We have enjoyed this conversation with you all so very much. You are us. We are you. You are the council here on earth. You are everything you wish to be. You already are. It is all within you. It always will be. We love you. We love you. We love you. And with that, we are complete.
Thank you.
That's great.
And I was laughing too because we were talking before we started about the weird thing where light will come on your face, and at the end there was a little light that came.
Yeah, when we're saying a profound message, like this wild light beam just went boom.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
I definitely was feeling a lot of light in that, but that's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was great. You always have great questions. I appreciate it so much.
Well, we love this. How can our collaborative support you? Is there anything coming up they can get involved with? I know you're always writing a new book every time you interview, so.
Yeah, go to saralandon.com. There's lots of free resources there. You can also see some of the courses that I mentioned, the books that I mentioned. Our new course will be released here soon for starting in January 2025, but Take the Quantum Leap. You are a channel. Again, the council always says that if you are drawn to channeled information in any way, you yourself are also a channel. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to verbally channel with your eyes closed like I do, but everybody has a gift and ability. And we're really, really being called very eagerly and enthusiastically to really connect into higher realms and receive guidance and messages from our soul, angels, guides, the council, our loved ones on the other side. It's really such an important part of coming into the realization of all that you are, because we never meant to do this journey alone. There's always this energy, this light that is guiding us, and it is your energy and it is your light. And so I encourage people, the You Are a Channel book or the You Are a Channel course is a really great place to start, or just check out the website. And if something lights up for you, start there and let the next perfect step come to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We love you, and everybody here loves you. And we are seeing so many positive comments of love to you that we're going to end this meeting by unmuting everybody and allowing everybody to just send you as much love as possible. So thank you, Sarah. This has been great.
We love you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you,
so
Leah and
much.
Kyle.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye,
Oh my
everybody.
gosh, so much
Love
love to you all. Thank you. Thank
Best.
you.
Best questions ever, you guys. Every time you
Thank
ask
you.
the best questions.
Yes,
Oh,
they
thank you.
do. They absolutely do.